Next question is sent in from an anonymous sender who works in... Anonymous. See, it's a little bit later in the day and I've completely just gone to mush already. I need a coffee. So you can send in a question if you don't want to be named to fin@11fs.com. This one is from someone specifically who works in a tier 1 bank. If you could give my CEO one piece of advice to save our bank, what would it be?
Ooh, save the bank. I don't know. Is the bank going to go under anytime soon? I think banks get bailed out when they're getting too threatened. I think save the bank is an interesting term because actually a lot of parts of banks are quite profitable. They work, they're producing for customers, and most customers are not switching, they're not leaving their banks, especially older customers. So I think the question, maybe I want to rephrase it a little bit. How do you make the bank grow into what it's going to become in the future? And I think that's the thing that a lot of CEOs are really concerned about at the moment. How does it grow into what it needs to be truly digital? And I think if you frame the question in that sense, then I immediately think about, well, what are the things that those customers are thinking about? What are the problems in those customers' lives? And does the CEO understand those? And how do you frame those in a way that they can understand how digital might help them deliver against some of that? So I don't know if it's saving the bank, Jason.
My advice would be schizophrenic. Because actually we're living in this transition time. You're running a large, successful, often multinational bank with tens of thousands of people working there. All kinds of complex products and processes and procedures and everything in place. That has to keep going. That has to improve. You have to drive costs out of the business. You have to drive quarter-on-quarter growth. But I think the schizophrenia comes with understanding that there are these existential threats to that model. So as well as driving that model, you've got to find the next one. And that next one very much is about those next generation financial services rather than flogging financial products. It's about that real-time, intelligent, contextual stuff that we talk about all the time. And actually that future of what the bank will be. And I don't think you can hold those two things in the same organization in your head at the same time. So you've got to be driving towards what is this sort of existential future for my organization at the same time as driving the profit and the growth of the bank that you've got now.
Completely. I think CEOs are always concerned about share price as well. And what's going to drive share price is not a cost-cutting story. Fundamentally, organizations that talk about cutting cost, their share price tends to go down. So unless you've got a story about growth, then what's the CEO telling their investors in their market? Now, if they're just a yield stock and that's all they ever want to be, then maybe that's going to work for them. But I don't know that that's going to drive the share price in the place it needs to be. So consider that argument as well. I know that's something that's resonated a few times. All right, Zoe, next question.